Welcome to day 2 of racing here at Silverstone in the GT Cup Championship. The weather has definitely improved, although there was a problem with fog earlier on, which has delayed proceedings somewhat. However, the cars are on the grid, ready for the sprint race. We have John Seal on pole position, and Lucky is second on the grid, but pole for the GTC. I will hand you over to Mark Werrell for the commentary.
Thanks, Michelle. So John Seal brings his pole-sitting Lamborghini Huracan GT3 onto the front row of the grid, where he is joined, as we heard from Michelle, by Lucky Kira. The cars are heading off on their final formation lap for this second sprint race of the weekend. Let's have a look through the grid. It's John Seal and Lucky Kira on the front row of the grid, with John Dillon and the leading Group GTB car of Sam Randon on row number 2. Warren Gilbert and Jan Klinglenberg sit there on row number 3, with Simon Orange, the leading Group GTA car, and Chris Hart for company on row 4. It's Charlotte Gilbert and Harry Yardley-Rose on row number 5. The leading Group GTH car is Chris Murphy, who is joined by James Guess on row number 6, with John Whitehouse and Patrick Collins on row 7, and then Craig Wilkins and Andy Roby on row number 8. Row 9 is Alex Stevenson and James Simons in the Lotus, and David Franklin is joined by Steve Burt's Aston Martin at the tail end of the field. Well, in the pit stop race yesterday, John Seal, who starts from pole position, was sharing the car with Marcus Clutton, and they took the overall win. Might he be able to grab that car's second victory of the weekend? And driving solo in this one, claimed top spot on the podium. So the car's just heading round through Luffield Corner up towards Woodcote. The red lights will already be on the gantry to get this rolling start for the third of 4 races we've got over the course of this weekend. And as the lights go out, which they will do any second now, the pack charges their way up towards the start-finish line. It's a great start from Lucky Kira, by the look of things, who draws himself into the lead of the race. But what a start from Sam Randon in the Porsche as well, 3 wide almost, heading up towards Cops Corner. Sam Randon was side by side with the blue Ferrari, which is John Dillon, and I think John Seal has lost out there and probably slipped down to 3rd position, if not 4th at the wheel of the Lamborghini. Here they come through Beckett's for the first time. Lucky Kira leads, John Dillon 2nd place. It is John Seal there in 3rd place. Sam Randon is in 4th place, and Warren Gilbert at the wheel of the leading Marcus sits there in 5th position, as the pack all charge their way out of Beckett's onto Chapel Curve and then down the Hanger Straight for the first time. The 2 Ferrari GTCs leading the race, side by side for the lead of Group GTB in the early stages. The Porsche of Sam Randon trying to defend from the Marcos, whilst also trying to attack the Lamborghini of John Seal that lies ahead. Great stuff in the early stages. The 67 Ginetta of Simon Orange side by side for the lead of Group GTA as well. That's Chris Hart that he is doing battle with, the pair of those still side by side as they came down in towards the braking area for the Vale that time through. So the leading pack of cars all starting to stretch their legs out of Club Corner down the international pit straight. There goes Andy Roby. He's under pressure from the number 17 Team Hard car, which has got Patrick Collins on board for this race. You can see they all sort of branch out and try and break the toe on each other as they head past the wing and down the international pit straight. Contact further back, I think. Now, that was Patrick Collins, who was about to turn into the corner whilst Craig Wilkins was alongside. And I'm not sure whether Craig spun to avoid the contact or whether there was contact and Craig spun. But either way, that puts somebody who was right at the sharp end of the championship fight, 3rd coming into this weekend overall in the championship, right the way down through the order, with work to do, I'm afraid, the man from the West Midlands. The rest of the pack are now carving their way down the Bentley Straight as John Dillon starts to attack Lucky Kira for the lead of the race on the brakes there, coming in towards Brooklands. Lucky having none of it. Now John Dillon finds himself under attack from the Lamborghini of John Seal. Warren Gilbert sitting there in 4th place, Jan Klinglenberg in 5th place, Chris Hart in 6th, and Sam Randon down towards the bottom of the top 10. Not quite sure what happened to the Team Hard Porsche there, but Sam Randon has dropped way down through the order. There goes the championship winning car from last year. John Whitehouse is on board for this race, but the leading trio up towards Cops Corner, still in the same order. Still Lucky Kira from John Dillon, from the charging Lamborghini Huracan in the hands of John Seal. They head up towards Maggots and then on towards Beckett's. Ferrari from Lamborghini as they carve their way through Beckett's. And there, I'm afraid, a big accident for Andy Roby. Damage to the front end of his BMW. He's lost a wheel on the tail end of the car as well. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, whether he had the car snap sideways under braking, but both front and rear damage, and that surely is going to bring about the safety car, because that car is slap bang in the firing line should something else happen. The lead trio in the meantime just continue up towards Stowe Corner, with John Seal now at the inside of John Dillon to take 2nd place away. So the GT3 Lamborghini goes ahead of the GTC Ferrari, and now John Seal will try and attack Lucky Kira for the lead of the race, but we're going to have at least localised yellows at Copse Corner, if not a full course caution, I would have thought, before too much longer. Well, there goes Andy Roby. He's out of the car and fine, but that's a very sorry-looking BMW E36, I'm afraid. The race still continues for the meantime. Lucky Kira, John Seal, and then John Dillon looking to try and reassert himself back in second, but Abbey and Farm Curve aren't really overtaking spots. He needs to wait for the heavy braking area at Village Corner, or the Loop, which is coming up any second now. In towards Village they'll go, then sweep their way up towards the left-hander at the Loop as John Seal now tries to attack for the lead of the race. He's up the inside of Lucky Kira, who sees him coming. He can't turn the Ferrari in, but he will try and fight back on the exit of the corner. The two of them will now go side by side down the Wellington Straight, with Lucky Kira having the inside line for Brooklands. So they will head over the horizon. John Seal has indeed been able to hang on to the lead of the race. So from third to second, now second to first in this race. A great lap for John Seal. Lucky Kira down to second at the wheel of the red Ferrari. But more importantly, he still leads the Group GTC. And it's the points you accumulate in your respective group that are important. Safety car boards are out there on the marshal's post on the left-hand side. So not unsurprising because of the stricken BMW, which is right in the head-on position, isn't it? Thankfully, Andy Roby okay. A strong car he and the Gemini team have built. And for John Seal, he got all of the overtaking done before the safety car boards were out. So come the restart, once we've cleared up the incident, John Seal will have the opportunity to try and propel the Lamborghini through and ahead of the Ferraris. So John Seal leading the race and leading Group GT3. Lucky Kira in second place and leading Group GTC. The blue and green Ferrari that's behind him, John Dillon, also runs in Group GTC. And then in fourth place, we should see Warren Gilbert at the wheel of the Top Cats Racing Marcos Mantis, arguably one of the oldest cars we've got in the field, but still a very, very competitive car. That will be fourth, but will be leading Group GTB at this stage. The rest of the field all now starting to catch up with the safety car train. As ever, huge variety with Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Marcus, McLaren, Ginetta and Aston Martin and BMW and Lotus all represented on the grid. But Andy Roby's sad-looking BMW is moved out of harm's way, which means the lights are out on the safety car, which also means we can get the remaining part of this sprint race underway. And, well, for John Seal, he is going to have his hands full here. He can decide when he wants to go. There's no overtaking until the start-finish line either, so you can get alongside, but you can't have your nose ahead of the car you're doing battle with until you've reached the control line on the start-finish. John Seal gets the race back underway. The tail end of the field still working their way round through Luffield, but the front end of the field charging their way up towards Copse Corner. Lamborghini leads. John Dillon instantly at third place, looking to try and pounce and sneak through ahead of Lucky Kira, but Lucky Kira closed the door as they went round through Copse Corner. So Lamborghini, Ferrari, then it's a Marcos, which is Warren Gilbert's Group GTB leading car that sits there in fourth position, and fifth at this stage is going to be another Group GTB car. That's the all-white McLaren, the Balf Motorsport prepared car of Jan Klinglenberg. And in fact, just behind Jan Klinglenberg, in the back of the shot there, was the pink and light green Porsche, which will be the car of Sam Randon, running sixth overall, which means that we've got the Marcos, the white McLaren and the pink Porsche, first, second and third in Group GTB, all pretty much together, rolling their sleeves up and slugging it out. There goes Sam Randon. That's the car that was leading the championship points coming into this weekend, sharing the car with Ben Claydon. Early stages in the championship battle, but that was on 94 points coming into this weekend at Silverstone. And they'll be hoping that they can at least maintain, if not increase, their margin at the sharp end of the championship as we leave Northamptonshire. Now, Lucky Kira is under pressure from John Dillon. That's just allowing the race-leading Lamborghini of John Seal to start to pull away a little bit now. Warren Gilbert looks so he's there in fourth place, but Sam Randon is now through and ahead of Jan Klingelberg, so up to second in Group GTB for the Porsche now. The Group GTB leading Marcos will be watching its mirrors. Now, Warren Gilbert has driven this Marcos Mantis for a very good number of years. Harks back to the old one-make championship that we had for the Marcos Mantis cars back in the 1990s. As we say, it's still as competitive as ever in its respective group, but has got the substantially newer Porsche 911 of Sam Randon beginning to close in on it. So there goes the race leader. Here comes the squabble for second and third place. John Dillon looking to try and attack Lucky Kira again. The Marcos there in fourth, and now John Dillon is almost side by side with Lucky Kira, but Lucky's got the inside line for the next corner at Luffield. So John Dillon takes a wide sweep in to try and get a slightly tighter exit to see whether he can have a bit more momentum heading out of the corner and up towards Woodcut. But good driving by Lucky Kira, just positioning the car where he needs, and all of the time it's just allowing John Seal in the lead of the race to pull away from this great fight for the lead of Group GTC. Now here is number 80, Craig Wilkins, the Group GTH Ginetta, trying to carve its way back through the order now. That's the SBR Motorsport Lotus Evora of James Simons that he's trying to squeeze his way through and past. But for Craig Wilkins, he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch the cars at the sharp end of Group GTH, which is for the GT4 homologated cars. There goes John Whitehouse, a JMH Automotive McLaren 570. That is not leading Group GTH at this stage. It is James Guest who will be leading that, but is under pressure from the Whitebridge Motorsport Aston Martin Vantage GT4 of Chris Murphy. As for James Simons, well, at the wheel of his Lotus Evora, he's doing a really good job of holding up arguably a quicker car, Craig Wilkins, but following his spin down there at Abbey Corner, he's still got work to do and damage limitation as well, because he was lying third overall in the championship standings coming into this weekend. Now the lead battle for Group GTB is starting to hot up now as well, because Warren Gilbert has been caught over the course of the last few corners by Sam Randon at the wheel of the Team Hard Porsche, so there is no let-up in the pressure that will be applied. And there, I'm afraid, problems for John Dillon. The Ferrari slowing as he heads down the hangar straight. Hazard lights on, the car in some sort of limp mode potentially, or John trying to bring it back to the pit lane. Disaster for him, because again, that was another car that was right at the sharp end of the championship. Second overall in the standings coming into this weekend. The battle for the lead of Group GTB as close as it's been so far. Here comes our car that lies in second place, Lucky Kira, up towards the braking area for Brooklands. The lead battle for Group GTB is now third overall in the race in reality. The Marcos of Warren Gilbert under pressure from Sam Randon, who's now drawing himself alongside at the wheel of the Porsche. There's almost contact between the pair of them, but Sam Randon squeezes fairly Warren Gilbert towards the curb, and Warren realises if he stuck his nose in there much longer there was going to be contact, so just had to blend out of the throttle. So now that means Sam Randon takes up third overall in the race, but more importantly, that is now the lead of Group GTB. However, Warren Gilbert weaves one way, weaves the other as they come down the national pit straight, but he is not able to propel the Marcos through and ahead of the Porsche. It's young Sam Randon, ex-Clio racer, that hangs on to the lead of it, but in a straight line the Marcos has more grunt and almost draws itself back alongside as they come in towards Maggots, but it is still just about Sam Randon. I'm not sure what happened to him in the early stages of the race, because he dropped down towards the bottom of the top 10, but it's been a great drive from Sam to carve his way back through the order and now up into third place overall. James Simons is having a great race at the wheel of the SBR Motorsport Lotus Evora. He's still managing to keep Craig Wilkins behind him at this stage. Craig getting ever more frustrated, I would have thought, that he can't carve his way through the order. And this will be the lead battle in Group GTA. Chris Hard is under pressure from Simon Orange. Beginning of the race, they were side by side through this corner, but it's now the Make It Happen Racing Ginetta G55 that is only just ahead of the Team Hard G55. And no matter where you look on circuit, there are some great battles going on, either for the same group, like the Porsche and the Marcus that we've got there, both in Group GTB, or inter-group battles. Matters not. Everybody out there will be pushing as hard as they possibly can. Warren Gilbert heading round through Abbey, the thundering noise of the Marcos Mantis. This is an inter-group battle. It's the Group GTA Lotus Evora under pressure from the Group GTH Ginetta G55 of Craig Wilkins. And can the former British GT racer Craig Wilkins carve his way through? Well, not for the moment, heading round through Club Corner, but he might have another opportunity as they head along the International Pit Straight, the wing building just to the right-hand side, the Grand Prix start line in reality, as they then sweep their way round through Abbey, where Craig Wilkins has a bit more momentum than James Simons and might go through to take the place. Number 34, Harry Yardley-Rose, only 16 years of age, runner-up in the British Karting Championship last year, under pressure from Patrick Collins. And for John Dillon, the car hadn't gone into limp mode. It's a front right puncture, and he has managed to limp the Ferrari all the way round the circuit into the pit lane, by the look of things, without doing too much damage to it as well. So sensible driving from John. You want to get back to the pits as quickly as you can, but the quicker you travel, the more likely you are to rip the bits of bodywork and aerodynamics apart on the car. Here comes the second of the two Top Cats Racing Marcus Mantis. That's Charlotte Gilbert, Warren's wife, that's driving that one this weekend. There goes Chris Murphy under pressure from John Whitehouse, and then Harry Yardley-Rose, who, as I say, is just 16 years of age and is dipping his toe in the car racing water this weekend and doing a great job at the wheel of that number 34 car to try and keep the sister Team Hard car of Patrick Collins behind. The two Ginettas pretty much nose to tail as they thread their way through Beckett's, and then from Beckett's they'll propel themselves once more out of Chapel Curve an important corner, carry the speed out of Becketson through Chapel Curve, and you then carry all of that momentum down the Hanger Straight and on towards Stowe Corner. So 4 cars all busy sort of pairing off at this stage and squabbling away with each other. The Aston Martin, the McLaren, then the 2 Ginettas, and at the moment at the back of that little pack is Patrick Collins, who is working as hard as he can to try and get past Harry Yardley-Rose, but despite his inexperience of car racing, Harry doing a fantastic job this weekend. Here's the 3rd place car overall, Sam Randon, who has been a star really in Group GTB so far this season. Had a great weekend himself and Ben Claydon, who has substantially less experience driving cars at Snetterton, and they came into this weekend leading the championship standings, albeit very early on in what is a shortened season, of course. Squabble between Harry Yardley-Rose still continuing. Patrick Collins just a bit too far away really to try and attack. He just needs to close up by another 2 or 3 car lengths, and then he would be in a position that he could really start to ask a few questions of the young teenager as he flicks his way through the loop and then starts to accelerate out of Aintree Corner. They're doing that, but our race leader John Seal is now heading round through Beckett's for the final time. Number 12 Steve Burt under pressure from Alex Stevenson in the closing stages of this race as well. Alex claimed a win in the pit stop race yesterday when he shared the car with James Kellett, but driving solo today he's a little further down through the order. Towards us comes Jan Klinglenberg, and then it will be the lead battle in Group GTA. Chris Hart, car number 212, is still not that far ahead of the next Ginetta, is he? Which is right behind him, Simon Orange. So that's a good little fight that's going to decide who's going to stand on the top step of the Group GTA podium over the course of this weekend. And Chris Murphy, car number 72, leads Group GTH at this stage, only just from John Whitehouse's McLaren that is right behind him. So that's the lead battle for Group GTH. Well, John Seal is about to turn his way through Abbey for the final time. He might have lost the lead of the race and dropped from 1st to 2nd, then 2nd to 3rd in the early stages, but he was able to retake both the Ferraris, John Dillon and Lucky Kira, just before the safety car came out to take up the lead of the race once more. And since the safety car disappeared into the pit lane, he's been pretty untroubled at the wheel of the JMH Autiv Lamborghini Huracan. Here comes Steve Burt, still under pressure from Alex Stevenson. This is for 16th and 17th places overall, but for the lead of the race, our race leader for the final time turns his way through Brooklands, then up towards the sweeping right-hander at Luffield Corner, and now all John Dillon needs to do is accelerate his Lamborghini Huracan through Woodkirk Corner, which will be flat out, and up towards the checkered flag which awaits him. John Seal claims a win in the first sprint race of the day here at Silverstone, his 2nd win of the weekend following victory in the pit stop race where he shared the car with Marcus Clutton yesterday. It will be Lucky Kira who will bring his Simon Green Motorsport prepared Ferrari 488 Challenge spec car through in 2nd position, and then completing the top 3 will be the Team Hard Porsche of Sam Randon, who will also claim top honours in his group, that being Group GTB. As for Group GTH, well, they're still squabbling, and Chris Murphy has got his hands full at the final corner because John Whitehouse is not giving up his aspirations to try and get hold of the lead of Group GTH, which is for the GT4 homologated cars, but it does look as though it is just going to finish with the Aston Martin ahead, and that car will claim its first group win of the 2020 championship season in GT Cup. The rest of the cars filing their way through over the start-finish line, including Harry Yardley-Rose, who had a great race-long battle with Patrick Collins. So let's confirm the results then. It's a win for John Seal, with Lucky Kira in 2nd place but winning Group GTC, and Sam Randon, the Group GTB winner, in 3rd position. Warren Gilbert and Jan Klinglenberg were there in 4th and 5th place, and Chris Hart won Group GTA in 6th position ahead of Simon Orange and Charlotte Gilbert, who was 7th and 8th. Chris Murphy was the winner of Group GTH, only just though from John Whitehouse, and outside of the top 10, Harry Yardley-Rose, Patrick Collins, James Guest, Craig Wilkins, who recovered to 14th place, James Simons was there in 15th place, and Steve Burt and Alex Stevenson finished 16th and 17th. John Dillon finished in 18th position. Andy Roby, of course, very sadly a retirement. Let's hear from the drivers.
I knew that if obviously the car's faster in a straight line, I thought if I could get in front of Seal for just a little bit, let them battle it and try and get a gap, and that was the plan, and it worked for turn 1, so happy days.
Good result, put it home P1 for the boys after all their hard work. Didn't make it easy for myself, so really frustrated, to be honest. It shouldn't have been that hard, but we go forwards, we learn, we fight another day, and in the sprint, in the 50-minute race this afternoon.
It's only the 2nd time out with this car, So just getting to grips with the setup now, so made a few changes from yesterday. Car was good, managed to make a good start, stay out of the trouble. There was a bit of carnage on the first lap. Got away, and whilst Simon's car was a little bit better in places, we seemed to have the legs on him on most of the lap, so managed to get my head down and get away.
Qualifying session this morning, managed to get my first class pole position in 5 years, so that was a delight. Had a reasonably good start but lost a position. Then there was the accident, the BMW hit me. So post safety car, needed to pass the Ginetta, got past that, and just kept my elbows out to the end, really, simple as that. The McLaren, the number one car, McLaren, is obviously a bit quicker than we are. He tried all he could to get past, but we just kept the door closed and kept him behind, unfortunately for him.
3 races down this weekend, 1 still to go. Great result there for Chris Murphy. Not just his first win of the weekend, but of the season. We'll be back with the pit stop race very, very soon. Make sure you keep an eye on those socials.